Steve Evans, just one place to start today, and that's the news from
Yes,
the
so you would, yeah.
the news that Phil Wallace wants to keep you around for a bit longer. He obviously enjoys your company.
He enjoys my company, yeah, and I enjoy him buying the wine. No, myself and the chairman have been chatting for a little while. Obviously, the chats got a little bit more intensive when the chairman received 2 or 3 approaches to take me away from the football club. Maybe in the last 3 or 4 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. And those conversations continued, and it just seemed a real good fit. Hand in glove, call it what you like. We really enjoy each other's challenge every day, because believe me, if you work for Phil Wallace, as the staff behind the camera will tell me, it's never easy, it's challenging, but it's rewarding in the sense that when you do a good job, you never fail to be told, and when it's not happening so well at the last week, you never fail to be told. So there's a real commonality. We both want this football club to be successful, and it just seemed certainly an appropriate thing from my point of view. The chairman was keen to do it, and those conversations were never about terms, never about anything else other than we valued each other, so we wanted to do it.
I was going to ask about the approaches, because there has been plenty of rumours so far this season, which there will be when you're doing well.
Yeah, of course.
So,
yeah. Any manager.
So there was some approaches, but they've been knocked back.
Yeah, the chairman had conversations with different people, and when him or Leon got the phone call, he's the first people to speak to, the first person, or one of the first persons to speak to, other than the other board directors, would be myself. And I've always been kept to the picture, and kept aware. None of those projects ever got to the point that I was really inside those clubs talking to them. I had conversations on the outside just for respect reasons, to say to the football club, my chairman has made me aware, and it's not something I want to pursue, because Phil Wallace is one of those men that if you don't want to beat his football club, you're not going to beat his football club. Now, whether that means he would have got strong compensation or different things, that's the chairman's business, but he's a real strong character. But for me, at this time in my career, going to the Scottish Premier League was not something that I wanted to pursue at that time. And leaving this football club and to go to the options I had at the top end of League One, or League One, not top end, League One, or indeed the Championship, wasn't something that I wanted to pursue at that time. So what I wanted to pursue was getting on the grass here with the boys every day and trying to achieve what many still think, and probably after last week I think is even more impossible for us to do, is trying to put Stevenage Football Club in the top group in League One, which is an almighty challenge, but one the last week, just as the chairman said to me only last night, it makes us even more keen to do so.
Well, it was an interesting comment that he actually put out in the statement, saying something along the lines of about the project that he wants to build going forward. So this is obviously a long-term view, and there's obviously plans in the works.
No, very much so, and it goes across all these businesses. What people fail to realise is that I'm not going to name the chairman's business. He's got multiple businesses, but if you look at one of the big ones, the Lamex Group, he's got multiple companies within companies. He is an area of discretion. He decides. He works so hard. His standards are very high. He values people. He wants to bring people in for the longer term. He wants to build projects. He wants a project to be successful. And along any successful project, and you'll know very well, Neil, there's always hiccups. There's always, you're going to land the plane and the runway's not ready. And there's always been ready for takeoff, but the fuel ain't right. So there's always, I'm just trying to give some analogies to this, but from our point of view, it was keen, and when we spoke when I first came into the football club, it was very much a short-term plan was, let's keep Stevenage Football Club in the Football League. And I think I surprised them that summer by saying, well, let's get Stevenage Football Club into League One. And then last summer we said, well, let's have a little bit of a go at trying to get Stevenage Football Club into the Championship. And when I helped the chairman up off the floor, when he fell off the chair, myself and Leon were having a little smile. What we had was a brilliantly supportive chairman. And what we've always had is when there's been a maidstone this year, or when there's been like losing games you shouldn't lose, like the other night, then even in League Two, when I first came in, we lost at Exeter, then we lost at Oldham in that game where Piagiani beat us. It wasn't Oldham, Piagiani beat us. He was always on the phone. He was always supportive. And like I said this when I joined you, do you know the best chairman I've ever worked for? You never hear from them when you win 3-0. You don't need to hear from Tony Stewart when you win 3-0. And he doesn't, you don't hear from him. You don't need to hear from Big Darren McAntony when you're winning 3-0, like Fergie's been flying. You don't need to hear. But I'll tell you what you need. You need the support. You need the support when it's not right. And I'm the same with my players. People think, well, what will Evans be like when we've lost a couple of games? Yeah, that's my players. You feel free as a journalist to ask my players. I'm the most supportive manager, both on personally and collectively. And from an employment point of view, we make sure that our players still enjoy walking through that front door and taking on the task we've got. And it doesn't get any more harder than going to Derby on Saturday.
Sure, it doesn't. Just finishing on the on the new deal, I guess people forget that obviously football management's a job, but like any other job, you want to feel respected, you want to feel rewarded in doing it, and you want to feel happy, and you obviously are happy here.
I've been really happy from the minute I walked in. Initially, I walked into a lot of people saying to me they thought I'd have come here years ago because of locality and because I used to come and watch Stevenage Football Club a lot. I was never in the boardroom around Phil Wallace or Stuart or Leon or the board. I kept myself away from that, but there was always a real affinity. And when I come, I was met with, first and foremost, those people, a group of players that deserve to be winning games, and it's just continued from that. The people around and in this town, before, after games, during, even after the nights, people waiting an hour and a half before I leave the stadium on Tuesday night, just to say it wasn't our night, but thank you, we go again Saturday, we'll see you at Derby. It's, you know, and you feel valued. But I'll never forget what it costs for those supporters to travel up and down the country, even coming to the Lamex. It costs a lot. So the need is a minimum, a management team and a staff and players who's going to fight for them. So I've loved every minute here. I intend to be here for a little bit longer with the chairman and the board's blessings. And we've got lots to achieve here. And if, you know, we're very positive about this season, but if it's not the season, we'll build successfully for next season. We're not going to, no longer will, certainly when I'm at this football club, we'll never be the lapdogs in League Two. Never. Those days are finished for Stevenage Football Club. I can't speak when I've gone, that's the board's decision what they do it, but they're wise enough, certainly our chairman is wise enough to make sure that the standards they've got now will only increase.
Let's move on to the football and Tuesday night briefly. I mean, I was really annoyed about the performance afterwards. I guess you've had a chance, you've had 24 hours, I guess you've seen the rerun of the game. What's your thoughts now?
Simple thoughts. If you make mistakes, use a little expression that everyone will be familiar with, you take your eye off the ball, you get hot really. The punishment levels in every level you go up in football are more severe if you make mistakes, as in teams will punish you more. If you look at, you know, in League Two, we probably come back in, even if they equalise, we had a track record, we come back and win the game late and 3-2 and rally it and go in happy. But we were so far in command of the game, it was frightening. We switched off. They get back in the game before half time. You have to take big chances to kill games off, which has cost us at Port Vale, which has cost us at Reading. It's only a week ago. It cost us on Tuesday. But the one thing that we do know is that we cost ourselves. No one came here and took over the game and controlled it, because at no stage in any of the three games that we discussed have we been out of control. We've been in the control of our destiny at various stages of the game. So we need to get back to that where it's totally in our control. And then we take care of it and we punish teams when we're in top of the game.
I mean, we've spoken so many times about February being a difficult month. There was always going to be hiccups, always going to be bumps in the road.
It was really interesting when I was going through the stats with our chairman yesterday, and he's talking about last season, almost to the day we're in a similar run. And I can remember I said to him and anyone else, listen, I think you wrote the words, Neil, in your column that I love to read, is you wrote the words back then. Evans kept saying Rochdale, come out of Rochdale, top three, promotion, out of Rochdale, top three, promotion. Go home after Cambridge United here, we're in that top group, we're one promotion. Before then, we've got some real toughies, haven't we? Got to go to Derby County, who are like showing what they're about now. Under Warney, we have Wycombe Wanderers and tough opponents. Scored 5 against Posh on Saturday, and then Cambridge, where Neil Fix-It Harris has got in and fixed them, and suddenly they're a team. So 3 really tough games, but let's see where we are when we come out of Cambridge. And if you come after Cambridge, I'll tell you where we'll finish. I was right after Rochdale when I said we'll finish in the top 3, we'll get promoted automatically, and we did. Not because I've got a magic insight into what happens, but you just have a feel for not only do you play when it goes to the final 10 games, but who else plays each other, and where it all landed. We have 4 of the top teams to play. So destiny, like last time, lies with us, doesn't it? And if you look at the run of, for example, Leyton Orient, we've got 5 of them to play. So we do our business. We know that each of those top 4 games will be tough, but so will the others that's not in that top 7.
Moving on to Derby, I mean, when they came to the Lamex earlier on this season, I was thought that was it for Paul Warren, the way the fans reacted afterwards, but it seems to have been a real turning point for them.
Yeah, he's a fighter, Warren, isn't he? He's something rubbed off on Warren when he worked for me for 4 years. He's a gifted manager. He's a gifted young man who works incredibly hard. He knows a player. He's been a player. I think he played once for me and I told him he's get the boots in the cupboard. But he's a brilliant guy. He's a good manager. Listen, you start the season, the one manager under pressure. There's 2 managers under pressure at the start of the season. Paul Warren to get Derby promoted and Steve Evans to keep Stevenage in League One. That's not me dressing something up. That's where it was at the start of the season. I think both could happen, unless we go with Derby.
I mean, that performance earlier on this season down here was fantastic from you guys. Just need to try and reproduce something similar up there.
Yeah, listen, the one thing we've produced is our away form, as you've wrote many times in recent times, is our away form has been exceptional. I think we're in the top 2 or 3 teams away from home. We've let our standards slip at home in terms of results, not in terms of performances. Because I could sit here in front of any Stevenage supporter or any football supporter in the country and absolutely stand before our performance against Reading. We know what the score's like and should finish, but it's football, happens. I know what should happen at Port Vale. We know about decisions that go against us in both those games, big decisions. I've got less concerns about the decision that goes against us against Bristol Rovers. You have to give credit to Matty Taylor for suddenly getting these boys moving and flowing, and the boy Evans produced a absolute scintillating last half hour. But he should have been in the showers. That's reality. He's in the second yellow. So we're not going to cringe about that. We're not going to cringe about what happened against Reading with the 2 penalties. We're not going to cringe about the penalty guns against Super. But when we go to Derby, for example, we just need a fair crack, don't we? We don't need big things to go against us because the 27,000 or 28,000 Derby fans get some decision. And they're going to try, because I've been there with teams and they are an absolute vocal, brilliant home support. So we need I don't know who the referee is, I've not even looked. He has to have a strong one in place for Saturday.
I mean, the thing about going to Derby, it's a place I've not been to, Pride Park, I've never been, but I've been looking forward to this game perhaps more than any other this season. It's going to be just a fantastic
Yeah, I think in terms of stadia concerns, I think there's 2 that always sticks out to me. I think we went to the Bolton Wanderers earlier in the season for a midweek game when we lost with their goal and a game again, referee. You get there before the game, you appreciate what you've got. You are in the Premier League for all intents and purposes when you go out at 6 o'clock and the lights are on and there's no one in the stadium apart from the stewards and medical people ever moving around. And it will be the same on Saturday when we get to Derby County. It's just a fantastic facility. It's a great place to go and play football. My first ever game as a Championship manager was taking Rotherham to Derby. We lost 1-0 to a late goal. I'll never forget the occasion, because just to get there and see the fans are close to the pitch, the atmosphere is boiling. You'll enjoy every minute of it, as we all will. But we'll only really enjoy it if we drive back out to Derby with a point or 3 added to our tally. A point would be good, 3 would be outstanding.